Hi guys, how are you? So before I do this, I just want to say I'm kind of tired. So if I sound that way, it's because I am. And also just hello. I haven't been around for a while. And, while it could be for a serious reason like I died, more often than not, it's just that I'm bogged down with work. And, it's not work that I want to be doing. So when I come back, I'm usually just like this. I sound exhausted and miserable because I am. But I did want to just say hi. I will eventually post a Luik where I'm just kind of talking to you to catch up on my life as it's been. But this is not that. This is going to be about a thing. Somebody asked me recently why I hide my likes and dislikes. And so I felt like it was a good segue into, the little experiment that I posted, as well as, some of the things YouTube has been talking about in terms of changes. So I feel like it all culminated or converged. Yeah, converged is the word. It all converged at a point that made, posting this log make sense. So I'm going to do that. If you're new here, the logs are just me talking about things. And as is always the case, this is not scripted. I don't script my logs. Even the one, like the last one I did that was about The Last of Us 2, where I said it was going to be the first one that was kind of scripted because I had most of what I wanted to say was written down. Wait, what? That's not grammar. I had most of what I wanted to say written down. Jesus, I really am tired. But even then, I ended up not reading what I wrote. So even the thing that was supposed to be half scripted wasn't scripted. So this literally is just me sat here talking to you, which is why I end up having to cut these down so much. Like I sit here and ramble for like an hour and a half and I'll cut it down to like a 20-minute log. But let me have a sip of my seltzer and we'll get into this. Hold on. Also, I learned something interesting. This is not to do with anything, but this is how these logs go since I'm just talking. I had asked myself, I said, self, is there a difference in terms of criteria or like strict definition between seltzer, sparkling water, sparkling seltzer water? And I realized there actually is. I looked into it very briefly, so this might be wrong. But basically what I learned is that seltzer is just artificially carbonated water. So it could just be tap water. As long as they filter it, obviously, usually they would. Sparkling water is water that's naturally carbonated because it came out of like a well or a spring. And also because it comes from nature, it typically has minerals in it. Then you have like club soda, where it's basically just water artificially carbonated, but it also has minerals and stuff artificially added to it. So they didn't actually come in the water. None of this matters. None of this matters. Let's get to the nitty gritty of the titty, which is why I hide my likes and dislikes. Now, somebody did in fact ask me this. This isn't a situation where somebody's like, somebody asked me, blah, 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 when it's really just that they want to talk about a thing and they don't want to seem like they're talking about it out of the blue, which I don't know why anybody would feel weird or embarrassed about talking about something out of the blue. That's the best place to talk about things out of. But this wasn't out of the blue. This is something somebody actually asked. And I've been asked that before. Usually it's just kind of like in the midst of asking other things. But there have been times when that was all the comment was. It was just somebody saying like, why you hide this? So I'm going to explain the answer to that and also how it relates to the little experiment that I did. So the experiment that I did was just, it wasn't even, let's say it was out of boredom, but it's long been said and the general consensus has been that likes and dislikes aren't different in terms of engagement. And the reason that's come up a lot is because obviously if somebody cares a lot about their channel, they're going to want to minimize, I guess, anything that can have a negative impact on that. So naturally the assumption would be, well, if somebody dislikes your video, what does that do to your video? Like, is YouTube going to recommend it less? Is YouTube going to suppress it in some way because they're going to consider it to be lower quality content, etc.? And the people who ask that question are reassured by this response that seems like it wouldn't make any sense. That, it doesn't matter if somebody likes it or dislikes it. So like I said, out of boredom, and this is by no means scientific, I was just curious to see what would happen. If I put out more or less identical videos, and I just said, everybody like this one and everybody dislike this one, would I see any notable differences in anything like impressions? And I was gonna wait a month, but because the way I did it is, again, not exactly science. Like the fact that I forgot to say don't post comments, like I kind of forgot that, but whatever. The point is, they were damn near identical. And I could say that the like video got slightly more impressions, but not enough for me to feel like that was the determining factor. If I was a channel that typically gets 1 million views, because there would be so many other metrics involved, then there could potentially be enough of a shift there to say that it would be notable. But like I said, this was just something I did because I was bored, and more so to prove to myself that I was right to believe this consensus, right? That is not something that is going to trigger the algorithm, so to speak, to say, well, lots of people are liking this video, so let's shoot it to the moon, whereas tons of people are disliking this video, so let's not show it to anyone. At my low numbers and my low performance for my small channel, it would be negligible. The question of why I hide my likes and dislikes, let's start with like the answer: it is not, right? It is not because I get so many dislikes on my videos or something that I don't want other people to see it. Because in fact, I have very wonderful and sweet people who watch my videos. There's not a lot of you, but you are all very kind to do so. And because you're also very kind, I really don't get any dislikes on my videos. It's really just likes. And I can even insert myself kind of scrolling through. Like, I know that I never put video or images and stuff really up in my Lite logs, because that's kind of the point of them being Lite, is that there is no video. That's why I called them logs, because if I called them vlogs, they'd be video logs, and there's no fucking video footage. But, you know, normally I don't, but just for this, I will kind of insert some things to, you know, reference what I'm talking about. Just from whatever I'm scrolling, I can see this, so now you can see it. I don't really have any dislikes on my videos. I'm hiding it because I don't want to feed into something that I think shouldn't be a thing to begin with. Now, this is going to get into what the YouTube team has been talking about recently, so I'm going to jump to that first. In case you don't know, what YouTube has been talking about recently was changing the way that they display dislikes. And the reason that they gave, and I'm going to reference specifically the people on like the YouTube team who, they have a channel called Creator Insider? Let me look at my notes. Because even though I don't script my logs, I always have a note here so I remember what I want to talk about. And so I did write, yes, Creator Insider. And can I just say, like, this channel, it's people who work for YouTube. Like, it's the people who are actually the engineers and, you know, researchers and everybody who work on all of these features, you know, that are implemented on YouTube. And because of that, I've always found it funny. But you have millions, I'm assuming, of creators on YouTube who are jumping in and they're saying, I want to know how this works. And you would think with that many people who want to understand the platform so that they can figure out how to perform better on it, that they would have like tons and tons of subscribers, because these are the people who are actually doing the work. And yet it's like no one's going to the source. You know, nobody wants to hear it from the horse's mouth. They want to hear it from some like random YouTuber on Reddit. They really need to do a better job of maybe promoting their channel. So I said all that to say that I'm just going to reference it in the way that one of the creator insiders, like one of the YouTube employees, put it. But he said that they got a lot of feedback from creators who were saying that they kind of want dislikes to be hidden because, you know, they get tired of people targeting their channels with dislikes, which for an incredibly large creator may not matter because they know that a lot of it is just noise. But for a very small creator, somebody who maybe they only have 50 subscribers and they only get like 3 views on their video, seeing a dislike, even one, can be something that weighs very heavily on their minds, let alone if they get targeted. And like, say there's somebody who, or a group of people who every time they put out a video, they bomb it with dislikes. So they were saying that they were, you know, playing with the idea of hiding the dislikes. They gave an example of kind of what it would look like, and I think I screenshotted it. Yes. Okay. So in the screenshot I'm going to put up, you would see the count for the likes. but for the dislikes, you wouldn't see the count. Now, this is just for the purpose of display. You can still, as a viewer, like or dislike the video, and you can still, as a creator, go into your video statistics and stuff and see how many dislikes or likes you've gotten. It's simply just kind of front-facing, I guess you could put it, which I guess ostensibly could deter that specific behavior of somebody trolling your video just to get the number of dislikes up. If nobody can even see it, does it have the same impact? Now, one could argue that yes, it will have the same impact because you as a creator can still see all of those dislikes on your end. But even with that, you know, there were changes that they made a long time ago that I noticed. You can see, and I'm gonna crop out like the 2 test videos I did just so you can see this. I don't remember if it was when they changed from classic, but they had long since gotten rid of it where you saw like the likes and dislikes next to each other. Now it just shows you how many likes you have, and then it shows the percentage. And then you can only see how many dislikes you got exactly if you hover over it. So long story short, it can go a long way to help a creator who is bothered by dislikes, that they have to kind of go out of their way in order to see them now. And you can see that this percentage here is because, you know, somebody out there, one of y'all, doesn't know how to act right, okay? Because somebody liked the dislike video and then somebody disliked the like video. But I was anticipating that happening, so whatever. But the point is, it's good for me because then I get to illustrate the percentages. So you can still, in theory, be like, oh my God, I feel bad because, you know, I had all this engagement, but it's saying that only 5% of it were, you know, was actually likes, and you can still feel bad there. But let's not get too technical with it. The point is, on its face, let's put it this way, like making YouTube a more positive experience for creators in a way that will matter more to new creators and small creators than it likely would to like the big creators, especially those who, you know, said like, well, I don't like this feature because blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to get into that. But one thing I want to point out that the guy specifically said when talking about this and talking about the fact that it was just a matter of display, but not a change in the actual functionality of the like and dislikes, that he specifically said, because of that, you'll still be able to tune recommendations, which starts to get into, you know, what is the actual purpose of the like and dislike buttons, right? Like if in terms of engagement, they count the same, then what is the purpose of them? And for me, that comment kind of explains it. I view the like and dislike the same way I would view it on, say, a streaming radio service, where you're not liking and disliking things in order to signal to the person who made it that like, hey, your stuff is garbage, or hey, your stuff is good, but rather to signal like your own tastes and to try to refine this platform so that it better understands what you as an individual like and don't. So just like on a radio service where you'll dislike a song and then it'll know to like recommend less songs that are kind of within that vein. And then if you like a song, it knows to recommend and play more songs like that for you because there's a higher probability that you'll like that. That's how I've always seen the like and dislike on YouTube. Now, whether or not that's how it's always been, I can't speak to, but I feel like that's kind of in keeping with what it is now. And that's why this employee would refer to it as being a way that you tune your recommendations. Now, because that's the way that it functions in theory, that it's just your way of telling the platform what to show you, there's no reason for you to know how other people reacted. Which brings me back to the point of this log, which is, why do I hide likes and dislikes? And that's the main reason why. Because you don't need to know how many other people have liked or disliked my video in order to decide for yourself if you like or dislike it. So that's the main reason why I hide it, basically. If I don't think that something should be a thing and I'm given the ability to just get rid of it myself, I'm gonna get rid of it myself. I'm pretty sure that for as long as I've had this channel, I have had likes and dislikes hidden. Now you know why. It's because you shouldn't give a shit. If you like it, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Or, you know, do nothing. In either case, it's up to you. But you don't need this external influence, right? Now, I did say that I'm going to make an exception, and it's things like tutorials. it can potentially be helpful because you can look at it, and if you see that it has a gabillion dislikes, that could be a signal to you that, oh, maybe this video may not be worth watching, because the goal of the video is objective, not subjective. Like entertaining people, that's a subjective goal. What one person finds entertaining, another person might hate. But teaching someone how to do something, that is an objective goal. Like if I want to teach you how to do something simple, like how to use a can opener, that's a very specific objective thing. And if I do not show you in the video, I didn't fulfill the purpose of the video. So say that is what you're looking for. You go ahead and you search and you say, oh, I really need to know how to use a can opener because for some reason I'm a grown ass adult who doesn't know how to do that. You click on a video and you see that it has so many dislikes and almost no likes. Yes, that might trigger you to say, you know what, I'm not even gonna bother with this, because if that many people have disliked it, odds are they didn't actually explain how to do the thing. So that's an example of where I can see that being valuable information to you as a viewer. But the reason I still don't place that much emphasis on it is because so much of the content being consumed is not just a straight up like how to fix your sink thing. It is stuff that's very subjective, even if it is a tutorial, like how to, style an outfit, whether or not the attractiveness of that outfit really fits your style would still be subjective, or how to do your makeup. That's an objective thing that they're showing you, like an objective goal, like how to do cat eyes or how to do whatever. But the end result is still subjective in terms of whether you like it or not. Whereas the end result of opening a can is pretty much just, it is what it is. Is the fucking can open or isn't it? So I feel that for the vast majority of cases, you should not be looking to the likes and dislikes to determine if you watch something or not. You should be watching it yourself and coming to your own conclusion and then liking or disliking it or not doing anything at all based on your own impulse. And again, because we are not in an ideal world, the very thing that YouTube is talking about, which is just bombing things with dislikes for reasons that may have absolutely nothing to do with the content itself. Maybe the person said something that people didn't like and they didn't even say it in the video. Maybe somebody said something on Twitter, so they all decided to come to YouTube and bomb their next video with dislikes, even though the video is perfectly fine, right? So for all of these reasons and more, likes and dislikes should not be something that I personally think you need to even concern yourself with. Do it for yourself to try to tune what YouTube recommends to you. Beyond that, don't worry about it. Okay? Don't fucking worry about who is liking and disliking my shit. So I think that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to post a very short log to answer that question and to also explain why I did the stupid test. That was really not a good test, but that's the other thing I was going to say. This is how you could make the argument likes and dislikes are not actually the same. If enough people dislike your videos, there is the potential for your content to be recommended to that individual less. And if you have enough individuals, then, you would have your content recommended to people less in general, like overall. So even though from a micro perspective, whether someone likes or dislikes your video, it's still counted as engagement and it's still therefore kind of good for you in the same way that all publicity is good publicity. It can also sort of be true from a macro perspective that if this happens with enough individuals across the platform, it can hurt your content over time. Then you should kind of care about your likes and dislikes as long as you feel like they're in earnest, that somebody isn't just disliking your video just to be a dick. And even then, to me, the best signal would be people opening their fucking mouths, or in this case, using their damn keyboards and just saying, this is an issue with the video, which means a lot more than somebody just disliking it. Like somebody saying, hey, your audio's fucked up, or hey, that was cropped weirdly and it made my eyes bleed and I don't like that, sir or madam. So I personally don't even look at my likes and dislikes. I read comments though, because I want to know what you think, not just about my videos, because you already know I am stubborn as a mule. I'm going to do what I want to do, but I care about your feedback in terms of if it's something that I can change, oh, like the audio's too loud or whatever, then I want to know that. And also I read your comments because I just want to know what you think about other things. Like a lot of you say interesting things. It just reminds me why I do like other people. Sometimes, most of the time I hate other people. Other people are bad, but sometimes, you know, not. And I think that I have a very nice community here where I've got a lot of the good ones, and you're all a very broad spectrum of the good ones, which is wonderful too. But yeah, so that's it. That's the answer to the question of why I hide likes and dislikes. Now expect more logs coming because I've been so tired, guys. I've been so tired that all I really have the energy to do right now is talk to you guys. But I also do have videos that I just didn't get a chance to edit before I went on my stupid working spree a couple of weeks ago. So I have stuff there, so that'll be coming. Ugh. But, you know, the logs will be coming faster. Now I'm gonna go and maybe take a nap because that's what my yawns are telling me to do. And then I'll be up again, right as rain later, to sit back at this desk and get back to the editing, because the footage ain't gonna edit itself.